Well, I have no more things that I can be able to do in regards to like new content that's available in the game because everything has been uploaded and scheduled accordingly. So let's talk about tier list. Am I right, guys? Oh, great. So hopefully you guys are doing well with the landscape that we have in the game and everything. You know, we got some really tough content right now, right? If we take a look at things that are going on right now in terms of the events that we have, most of the things have skyrocketed in terms of power creep and difficulty, especially with this new event that we have, the Supreme Magnificent Battle. Kind of makes guys a bit more useless for the lack of a better word. No. But they make them, it's a bit harder to assess units nowadays with the actual strength that these fights are able to give out. And with the testament that we have with the new units and everything, it kind of makes it seem that there's a gap in jump of difficulty from part 2 of the Global Dokkan campaign, or even part 1 of the Global Dokkan campaign, to all the way to the EX part of this celebration. So it kind of makes it seem like we can't contend with these fights anymore. So I'm gonna make this tier list. These are my own thoughts, these are my own opinions on some of the best LRs that we have right now. And I do want to keep in mind that I have not been able to use a lot of these units like at their full capacity, because I have not been able to test out Zamasu as much as I want to, because typically you will want to use Rose's version a lot more than Zamasu, even though you want to get Zamasu's active skill for the damage. Then of course we got the newest releases from the Global Dokkan campaign, like Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Omega, things like that. So can I change the I will change the color of these later on, just so that we can have some intermittent, like interchangeable units in this list, so that way we can be able to proactively have a discussion. If in any case you guys agree, disagree, things like that, just be cordial down in the comments below. Don't tear me apart. I know that I'm making just like my worst thoughts and my worst comments on this. Let's jump right in. So at number 10, we're gonna get these gals right here, Kale and Khalifa. They're not great right now, I would say. Actually, I could replace this character for somebody else a little bit better, but this is one of the... I'm scaling this to like released LRs in the game, and this is basically one of the most recent releases that we got in here. So, of course, both of these are good. This was from the part 2 of the Golden Week celebration. When we got the details of these girls, they look really good. But, you know, on paper, at the beginning of things, they are only able to dodge, at least Khalifa is only able to dodge one attack, and after that, you do have to pray for like dodges from the hidden potential system, so that can help this character a lot initially. And then of course you do have some pretty good support coming in from the active skill from Khalifa's side of things. And then of course, if you do want to see the damage, you just jump into Kale, and she can be able to produce a lot more damage right here with her abilities. So nothing too simple. I haven't seen anybody run the Universe 6 characters on like these tougher content, because it's gonna be really tough to try to do that. So but this is one of the, like, if you check the list of cards that we have available, this is one of the most like recently released like LRs that I'm thinking that could be in there. Otherwise it could be interchangeable. Like, I don't want to bring up Gotenks being at the top, because of course he could get a pretty big resurgence. I would say that Gotenks is way better than Kellen Khalifa, and I could just add them in there. But I was thinking more of like recent releases, but You know what? I'll change my mind. This can be like an honorary mention. I don't know, but Ken Caulifla are not certainly the greatest to run right now, especially on an event of this caliber. Dodge is imperative to go your way on these events. So, but having this unit right here get a massive jump in terms of likability. Of course, I would move him a lot further instead of being on the number 10 spot. So, yeah, I guess I'll change my mind. This will be the replacement for this Killing Caulifla. This will be like an honorary mention. So, can I add another row in here? And a row below. Yeah, okay. And then of course I'll change the colors. These are just gonna be honorary mentions and things like that. But yeah, honorary mention is gonna be the girls, the Caulifla and Kale unit. So now I'm gonna restructure the list right here and we will move on to the number 10. All right, so coming in at number 10 is gonna be the LRTN. So TN right now, again, I haven't been able to use the Earthlings team as much as I would want to after the massive power creep that we just gotten throughout the celebration. But considering the fact that TN can be a nice little useful unit, I remember that I think I used TN to clear the part 1 of the special battle, and TN is really good because of this. He's receiving a Ki Blast Super, and he's able to nullify it and counter it with tremendous power, and most of the enemies that we have available are from the Kamehameha category. So, like Rose throwing out a Kamehameha, we can be able to do the counter and nullification there, or nullification and then the counter. Same with the Zamasu. I have some pretty good luck regarding this unit and his counters up against Zamasu as well. So this unit in particular is really good. It's a high damaging character as well, which is very nice to have due to the magnitude of the fights that we've been getting, right? So I would say that he's very solid. Of course, before attacking, he gets some pretty nice damage reduction. If you put him on the first attack of the turn, he gets some extra damage reduction right there after receiving an attack. And of course, if you put him on slot 2, he gets a jump in attack. So he can be able to do some massive damage right there. So TN is just very good. If you do have the Earthling setup, he can be a massive help for the team. So TN, you are added as the number 10 spot right here. Pretty good. Again, once we get into the all the characters listed, I'll make sure to assign everybody their colors, that can be interchangeable, that don't need to be interchanged, things like that, and we'll make the correct assumptions right there. But for now, TN, it's the number 10 spot. Moving along to number 9 is the LR Goten and Trunks. Now, I typically don't like to add ECA characters into lists like this because it don't make sense, right? You will want to see the characters on their raw natural strength and see how well they perform, things like that. But this unit is very impressive post Super ECA. If this guy is pulling all the stops, getting over 100 million attack stats, being able to do some really good damage, whilst being able to be pretty helpful with the dodges too. So we do love to see that. This unit in particular can be very effective on the new teams that we gotten for the Hybrid Saiyans leaders, things like that. Again, I don't want to put in the substantial difference between having units that have been Super ECA'd and units that have not. But this one in particular, I'm gonna put him at number 9 just so that he's on the climbing ranks right there. We're gonna possibly start shifting and adding some characters that have been Super ECA'd, and that can be really good on the type of content that we have nowadays. Of course, these guys are on sibling spawn, if I'm not mistaken. Nope. They're a bond of friendship, but yeah, I mean, sibling spawn, they had to be brothers in order for them to get share a bond together. But of course, this is going to be very helpful for some of the missions that we have now available for this difficult event right here. I think, what was it, the stage 2 it was to take on the Hybrid Saiyans team? Well, Bond of Friendship right there. So you can be able to clear stage 2 with those characters. So and stage 2 is the menace that we know and love about good old Trunks. So you do have to keep a careful eye for this man that hits for 16 million. Pretty crazy stuff there. But yeah, for now I'll place this guy at number 9. Of course, these are my own opinions. He can be a little bit better than the one that we're going to be able to see next, and things like that. So for now, he might be like very, very old, but yeah, we're going to add him here. LR Goten and Trunks on the number 9 spot. Now, moving at number 8, I had a bit of a conundrum here because I don't want to spoil who number 7 is, but number 7 was originally number 8. But I'm gonna add this guy at number 8 right now because there's some certain things that number 7 might not have that number 8 lacks on things that number 7 has. And I'm not gonna show spoilers, right? You guys can be able to scroll ahead and be like, oh, you were thinking about putting this guy at number 8 over this guy? What? Why? But this guy's stonks went up with the release of the new LR. The utility that he can be able to get here, this is pretty freaking massive. These two things go hand in hand. Getting the extra damage reduction, getting the 777% defense, very, very helpful against some of these fights that we have gotten that are Ki Blast Supers. For example, I believe this Goten does a Ki Blast Super at the end, and this is a 4 million Super. Granted, this is not the toughest fight, but you go over here and the fight just skyrockets because it's 16 million. And Gotenks can be able to persist some of the damage right here with this available for him. So this is very helpful. Do keep in mind as well that if you do plan to add him on the new leader for the Hybrid Saiyans team, with the Goten, and Trunks, you do have to keep in mind that you do need to bring a final trump card category ally on the team, because he's able to get this, the extra defense, the extra damage reduction, and it'll help out a lot when this unit is going to be taking a super attack of such a caliber like that, right? You do want to bank on getting the extra defenses for him because it'll help him out on the long run. But again, due to the fact that we have gotten with the special battle, we've gotten the nice little amount of Ki Blast Supers, it'll help him greatly to be able to counter those. And of course, Gotenks' damage is still up to par with some of the high damaging characters that we have nowadays. So I do want to move him to number 7, but I feel like it's just a sin for me to do this. But I guess we can have some discussions of this once you guys see it. But yeah, I'm going to add our boy Tech Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks at number 8. So moving on. So this was the guy that I was talking to you guys about. Number 7 is the 10th Anniversary Vegito. This hurts to put him this low. And there's a reason for it. These guys are very good on their own right, but they are not like insane immediately. So consistently wise, you will want to put these guys on slot 2 or slot 3, because these guys are just not going to be immediate defenders on slot 1. They're not going to tank most of these attacks, and then on opening turns you can receive with a super attack of 12 million damage, and they are just gonna get absolutely annihilated. So having our boy Vegito be on number 7 kind of makes this really rough. Of course, you do have these 3 options right here. You can't change into Vegeta until the 4th turn from the start of the battle, and then you can be able to get a little bit more defensive. Once you use the active skill for this guy, he can be able to guard permanently, can be able to get some extra damage reduction. You put him on slot 1 as well. He's able to guard without having to use this. And then, of course, you do have Super Vegito, which can be helpful on turn 5, and then he can be able to do the extra damage, but it won't save him if he does take a super attack of like 12 million by this Trunks. Or, you know, this Super Saiyan Trunks once you go past him and get to like 16 million, which is pretty nuts. So it's always like keeping an eye out for things, but making sure that you run your units accordingly, because I know that a lot of people have been running like crazy and be like, oh, these guys are fishes again, they suck, things like that. But you know, the content nowadays just makes it a little bit more difficult to like assess these characters in a more greater fashion. Now, a lot of people will tell me like, oh my god, he's very low because he's amazing. Like you have to put this guy at number 1 because of the Festival of Battles, right? I am not assessing these units because of the Festival of Battles. Let's just put it out there. I don't care about the Festival of Battles. I don't think the Festival of Battles is good of an event to assess how good a unit is when the event itself has a gimmick, and it's to stack. You gotta stack as much as possible for the character to look good, and this character right here stacks attack. He greatly raises attack, he greatly raises defense on Vegeta's side of things. So if you do go on the mindset of you're not assessing Festival Battle, so why is he that low? That's the reason why. He can be good on Festival of Battles, same as the next pickup that we're going to select here. Those characters can be very good because they stack. On an event itself that can stack, great, congratulations. Those guys are going to be very good on that event. But I'm not assessing any of these units for the events that we have for the Festival of Battles, right? I'm assessing these units on the latest, hardest content that we've ever received. So that's why these guys are going to be very low. That's why these guys are at the spot that they're at. So these guys are good on their own right. You do have to make sure that, you know, read and run them accordingly, because they're able to get some pretty solid stuff for the first 3 turns. But if you do the shenanigans that people do, like run them on slot 1 immediately, then of course they're going to get cremated. So you do have to be very careful when it comes to utilizing these units in their more optimal scenarios. But, you know, you didn't hear that from me, right? Anyways, moving on, our boy Vegito is at number 7. Moving in at number 6 is going to be the exact opposite, of course, Gogeta. So there are some differences between both of them. They're most similarly, they're kind of similar in certain aspects, but I'm just gonna let you guys know right now, the only thing that makes these guys different from one another is that once you go over to here and use this is a lot. That support that Gogeta is able to provide here is very helpful on most of the fights that we can get in the game. Gogeta can be very useful. Of course, we also have this right here, which is not often talked about, and that is this active right here. That this guy gets permanent dodge for 3 turns, and then of course he does have a Ghost Usher. So you do have to keep in mind that there's only one enemy, and then we have gotten some fights apart from the Supreme Magnificent battle that we have gotten like 2 enemies, and some people have gotten the usage of the Ghost Usher or the Veku ability just so that you can protect yourself. But then, you know, you do have to make sure that you gotta protect yourself from another enemy. That could be in regards to that, because you're fighting 2 enemies in certain special battles. So you do have to keep an eye out for that. But this is very helpful. The dodge guaranteed really helps out a lot. And then of course, for short fights like those are very useful. But then of course, if you can, you know, you do your ability to get these guys available, and get the Super Gogeta active, you can be able to get that as well. Run away with it, right? Again, same perspective with this guy. I'm not assessing these guys with the Festival of Battles in mind. I don't care about the Festival of Battles. The Festival of Battles, for me, it's just a unique event that really empowers you to micromanage your units and seeing how the units perform. In a setup where you're going to be stacking for at least an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then the final phases you're going to encounter yourself to fighting the greater fights, because once you jump into phase 45, phase 46, the enemy's damage is going to start ramping up. You do need to make sure that the damage that you have been able to stack up with these guys is optimal. Most of the things and shenanigans that people assess these units for, you do have to be careful with it, right? So but that's Festival of Battles. I'm not assessing Festival of Battles on this. I am assessing how good these units are on short-term fights, medium or long-term fights. Festival of Battles is just a nightmare for 2 hours. So yeah, good old Vegeta that goes into Super Saiyan, Super Gogeta, coming in at number 6. All right, so we got number 5, good old Gohan, Goten, and Trunks. Now, here's my positioning for these guys. I guess I can put all of these at the same color, just a spoiler alert, because all of these can be interchangeable. Most of these guys can be interchangeable. Gohan and Goten and Trunks are coming in with a pretty accentuating, like, difficult fight, which is this Supreme Magnificent Battle. And what this fight has to offer is a nice little buff for the categories listed here. Hybrid Saiyans, Youth, the Defenders of Justice, things like that. And right now, the teams that they're being, like, they're buffing, they're decent, but they're not the greatest. So we do have the ability to use Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. We can be able to use the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. There's the SDR pan, or the physical pan in my case, because I didn't pull the SDR pan. These guys, you guys can be able to use there. Pretty legitimate options for this team, which is good, so that way we can be able to get some sort of revitalization on those teams. However, I don't know if they're, like, better than some of the LRs that we have gotten, right? We got Omega, we got Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Most of those guys are really, really good. However, I have not been able to assess a lot of the power that Gohan is able to provide here. Of course, the orb changing is pretty good. The massively racing attack and being able to do some really good damage. I consider, like, I'm using more this active skill rather than the Gohan one, because of the support that we are able to get permanently in battle, rather than having Gohan facilitate the fight by doing, like, really, really substantial damage. And then, of course, do keep in mind that he is able to get this permanently if you're able to obtain this. You can try to get it prior, because I have done this before. I have been able to get lucky and getting 5 Rainbow Key Spheres prior to using this guys as active, and it's very, very good. This in particular is also very helpful. The only thing is that it's only for 2 turns, and it's a much more substantial buff than what you're getting with the Goten and Trunks active. It is helpful, of course. I would want to test this guy a lot more, because right now it's the 10th of August when I'm talking about this, so I haven't been able to run the unit as much as I would like. But for now, I feel like, again, having the same color, I'm gonna put I guess the yellow, so that way we can have the same tier of color, just to let you guys know that these guys are interchangeable in their own right. So you guys can be able to exchange these guys as much as you want, and I would agree, disagree, things like that. So for now, Gohan enters the top 5. This is one of the main reasons I say that this is, like, really, really tied up. So all of these can be interchangeable in their own right. I'm not saying that Omega is number 4. I'm more likely saying, like, all of these guys can be, like, number 1. So if you go over here If like I can be able to just put 1 because everybody can be interchangeable. Now I don't think that Gohan is a lot better than some of these. Like he maybe the top 2 or the top 3 can be like the same type of color. Let's just put it like that. Actually no, you know what, they can be interchangeable however you guys want it. But I'm gonna add Omega in here as the number 4, quote unquote number 4, because Omega is fantastic. And the one thing that is very impressive to me is the leader skill. Apart from GT bosses getting some actual help, inhuman needs and power absorption, we were able to see it from the showcase that they were able to show this character in. Omega can be able to use, and can be able to get Rose on his team. And that is, very, very strong. So you can be able to add that into your arsenal and have Omega just cook with this is like Inhuman Deeds team. However, they have buffed tremendously the Shadow Dragon Saga / GT Bosses team by adding these two as their ECAs. There's also the LR Nuova Shenron, which is a free-to-play unit that is also very, very good. So those can be added into the team, and I find myself mostly running that team on certain events rather than, the norm of the super class, right? GT Heroes is always good. The Future Saga / Fuse Fighters team is also very good, but this is a team that I've been wishing for them to really get some good buffs there. Omega providing support by just collecting that Rainbow Key Sphere there, and he's also able to generate Rainbow Key Spheres with his intro. Very, very strong. He also has this as well, where he can be able to do that randomly and be able to collect that orb right there is also very helpful. And then providing attack support with his domain ability. I feel that this is a very well-rounded unit and very, very strong for some of the tougher fights that we've gotten recently. So that's one of the main reasonings. I had this guy in very high regards, I would say. So Omega, of course, I'm gonna put him in the top 4 spot right here. Of course, all of these can be interchangeable. All of these, you guys want to put this guy on number 2, go ahead. You guys want to put this on number 3 or number 1, go ahead. I'm gonna put him at number 4 just because I can, right? Let me actually change this guy's color because I don't think this guy's interchangeable. Again, everything on the top 5 scale is interchangeable. So I'm gonna add our boy here, Rose, Goku Black, and Zamasu as the number 3 spot right here. Very, very good unit. This is once they came out, right? They were a 9 out of 10. The only thing that would make this a 10 out of 10 is this leader skill. Of course, super bosses right now, with the amount of buffs that we've gotten, I would say that it's decent. We got the ECA for the Fusion Zamasu, which is good. We got the free-to-play clones, which also help out a lot, especially for free-to-play players, right? Using Rose and then the clones is such a wonderful combination. So, I know that it helps the team greatly. So I am very, very happy that we got some good help for super bosses here, especially with the free-to-play clones. But again, the super bosses team is still a little bit lackluster, I would say. They would still continue to get some additional substantial buffs here. But just like I mentioned in the beginning of things, I do find myself utilizing Rose a bit more than Zamasu. Zamasu is very good, but you will want to start dealing the damage with Zamasu. Is it loading still? What's going on? Okay, it might have loaded a little bit there. Yeah, let's take its time. It's a little bit laggy. There's a lot of tabs open. But of course, just providing damage. This right here is also very, very good. I sadly don't find myself using this guy a lot because he's not super defensive, especially on the tougher fights. I find myself utilizing Rose a lot more, especially his active, because he's able to provide all of this to the peeps. I find myself using Salmonsis as active because of the damage that he's able to rack up. Like, that man is able to one-shot most of the enemies that we have available because of the high level of damage that this guy is able to rack up. Especially stacking attack right there. And then swapping over to this guy, we're able to get a lot of attack and defenses there. So it's also very, very good stuff. Utilizing this guy's as active, being able to get the extra 40% attack for the rest of the battle, the extra key, all of it is just really, really good stuff. This is a another well-rounded villain, which we really needed, right? So I would say Goku Black does fit the slots right there, where he can be able to be, of course, interchanged by most of these guys right here. So let's move on. Coming in at number 2 and at number 1, let's just finish it up right here. Anybody can be interchanged, just letting you guys know, because I don't want people to jump me. So we got a Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and, of course, the Blue Goku. Here is my reasoning for this. I still feel like this guy, for me, I could put him in here and I'd be satisfied with this. Because they're the same. They in terms of power, they're really, really good. The only thing that helps this guy get the little bit of a bump up the top is due to their ability right there. So we'll discuss this a little bit later. But Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, I still consider this guy one of the best units in the game, regardless of the tougher fights that we've gotten. You know, there's the memes and the stuff that, oh, this guy is terrifying up against, you know, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta because, you know, he does a lot of damage to him, right? I understand that. However, I've been seeing it as a point that people have not been using these units accordingly. And that's not the blame as to why I would say, oh, just because I'm blaming you guys of saying, oh, this unit is not being utilized accordingly, therefore I'm going to put them at the top, or people are not using them accordingly. Why are you running these guys in the first place? No, I'm doing this because of the sake of how useful this guy really is in comparison to, like, for example, I've seen these are just like rage bait recordings, right? Some rotations that people have done where, oh, I'm gonna put the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, who is not a slot 1 unit by any means. He can be very good defensively, but he's not a slot 1 character. But people put him over one of the first turn of the Super Saiyan 4s, the physical Super Saiyan 4s, up against this Trunks. And, you know, this Trunks can hit pretty dang hard. On Super is a 12.1 million super attack damage. And they're utilizing this guy to just get the clicks, get the views, and things like that. And it's stupid. Because this guy is really, really freaking good. He's able to provide support for superclass allies for 4 turns, which is awesome. He's able to do like some really, really high amounts of damage. He's able to do multiple supers. At least for me, he's able to do at least 3 to 4 super attacks, because of course I got him at 79%. He does have this, which I do think of it as not super great. I do want the effect of like Super Saiyan 4 Goku, the Super ECA one, where he's able to get the nullification regardless of what type of super it is. It's either a Ki Blast, a combo, any type of super attack. When receiving a super attack, I really would have wished that it would be like that, but they wanted to make it true to the story. Of course, it's Omega just doing the Revenge Death Ball. Actually, is that from? No, that's Baby. Either way, if he's doing that, of course, he's going to counter it with tremendous power with the Ki Blast, right? And then, of course, the active skill just does some insane amount of damage. He's able to get attack and defense plus 70%. And then guaranteed crits. Like, he's good. I feel like, for me, he's still one of the top units in the game that can be able to dominate most of the content in the game. You do have to be careful, though. I did videos on these new fights utilizing the GT Heroes team, and for me, he went spectacularly well. I don't know, for some other people, it might have been a little bit more tougher, but you know, again, it is what it is. The community would want to shaft these units the way that they would want them, right? It's just their end of the spectrum. That's just what they do, right? But for me, these guys are fine. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is going to be pretty good. And like, he might have aged. No, I'm not going to say that. Like, he's not great for these types of fights that are very, very short. Because it's just a two-phase fight. And you see the damage that's just skyrocketing here. It's not the greatest. But I'm taking this as an example in comparison to some of the other fights that we got. So, and then, of course, we got Blue Goku and Blue Vegeta, who basically skyrocketed in terms of the ranking system. For me, I had them at number 4 before the part 3 of the Global Dokkan campaign, or the EX part release. But these guys have always been very, very good. I've always been an advocate for dodges, and it's no mistake, of course. These guys get a lot of like chances of dodging with all of this. What is it, 80% chance to dodge that they get? So it's also very, very useful to have Goku. And then, of course, Vegeta, you can have him for the damage. He's able to do this as well. All very, very good things with the active skill from Vegeta side of things. And then you swap over to Goku, because not only you're getting the buff from that active skill, everybody else is getting the buff from that active skill, but the 80% chance to dodge is much more important now, because people are now assessing, you know, damage is good because we can be able to take down the enemies quicker. But you also don't take a 16 million damage super attack right up the rear end because you were able to dodge it, right? And that's why I mean by building your units accordingly. I gave this guy a substantial amount of dodge for that reason, because he doesn't have a lot of dodge utility here. There's not a lot of dodges being performed here. So I would want to help him out with getting some high chances of dodging instead of just, you know, supplying him with crit when he already has a 50% chance to crit, when he's already going to be able to get a permanent chance to crit once he gets hit 7 times, when he gets guaranteed crits on the active, you know, things like that. Building your units accordingly kind of measures out as well my share of listing these guys in here. So, but that's going to be it. You guys can agree with me. You guys can disagree. Do it in a cordial manner, please. I know I might not be assessing these units accordingly. Most of these guys have not been running them into their most optimal level, but these guys are, and these are my tier list, right? Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. Also, let me know down in the comments below how wrong I am. Okay, you're correct in certain aspects. This is a pretty nice tier list, whatever it is that may be. Again, if you disagree with certain positionings, let me know down in the comments below. These are just my thoughts as a normal, casual to intermediately intense player, because I do these guides, I just jump into the events and be able to beat it once. And then if we do want to like try to showcase an event or showcase a character in particular, then we just use the character in that event whenever there's a showcase to run or like a stream, things like that. Not going super try-hardy and be able to like show off, right? But yeah, this is my tier list. Let me know down in the comments below if you agree, disagree. Don't agree with the placements of some of these units. You would like to change the placements of some of these units. Let me know down in the comments below. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I should be coming back by the time this video goes out. I hope that I can be able to get in tune with the content that we have nowadays available. So yeah, I appreciate you guys' patience. I appreciate you guys stopping by for this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.